We'll get this committee started in about 5 minutes. Some final discussions on one of the items. So within 5 minutes, we'll start this committee meeting. Councilmember Jose Huizar. I'm joined today by Councilmember Richard Alarcon, representing the great 7th Council District. And what we will do today is go through the items. I did have in mind to continue item number 7 at the request of Councilmember Alarcon. Is that?
We're fine. Yeah, they said we're fine.
You're fine? Let's continue. We could act on it today?
Just one meeting.
Continue one meeting. Okay. Item number 7 will be continued for 1 week. And that is the item on the mitigation monitoring program in connection with the Hansen Dam improvements project. So we'll continue that item. I'm inclined to continue item number 4 and 5 as well. That is dealing with trees. Oh, a lot of folks just got up. Got a lot of work to do somewhere else.
That's Hansen Dam?
So
Sorry.
item 7, 4, and 5 we will continue. And on item number 1, we are not going to have a discussion today. We have had a number of discussions on the budget as it pertains to public works, so we will continue that item for another week. And that was a discussion on the general budget situation for the public works departments and its accompanying bureaus. So we will continue that item as well. So City Clerk, if we could begin with item number 2.
Item number 2, City Engineer Report relative to the vacation of the alley between Barrington Avenue and Stoner Avenue from Idaho Avenue to approximately 237.25 feet southeasterly thereof, vacation E1401062.
Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you staff?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
I'm the
Applicant.
Applicant. That's
Okay.
correct. Applicant's representative.
All right. Is there staff here? Staff here? Can you give us a quick overview of this item? And, I've been chairing this committee just a short time, but most of these vacations go quickly. This is the first contentious one, so if you could walk us through this and let us know what's going on.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Dale Williams, Bureau of Engineering, Land Development Group. This is a vacation of a portion of the alley between Barrington Avenue and Stoner Avenue. The petitioner is First Baptist Church of West Los Angeles. The project they're proposing is for additional parking and green space for an existing church school campus. And Bureau of Engineering is recommending approval with conditions as outlined in the report. We did receive initial objection letters back in 2007 from adjoining property owners. In 2008, those objections were withdrawn. I received one letter of concern. Wasn't actually explicitly an objection letter. That was a couple days ago. And that concern was based on the dead end that would be created by the vacation. And to address that, we do have a requirement for a dedication and improvement of a turnaround in the remaining unvacated portion of the alley.
Okay, so does the petitioner have any problems meeting the conditions as outlined by the city engineer?
No, sir, we do not.
You can meet all the conditions? Okay. And we do have some concern from some individuals, I understand. We'll go through the speaker's cards. If you could remain seated up here, and we'll ask the speaker to come into that seat. Yes, sir.
If I may.
And your name is? I'm sorry.
My name is Michael Pauls. I apologize. I am the representative for the applicant, the First Baptist Church of West Los Angeles.
Okay.
We are requesting the changes which are contained in the letter from the council office that you have before you.
I did not know that. Okay. Have you had a chance to review these?
Yeah, we've been made aware of the requested changes. We have no objection to those.
And can you go over those briefly, please? Oh, they're here on the second page of the CLA and CAO, you have a copy of these? Do you have any concerns, objections to these? They look fine? Okay. All right, we'll take this under consideration. So you are Michael Pauls, and you are Alicia Lay. Okay, and we also have Steve Campbell available for questions, correct? You're available for questions, do not wish to speak. Everett Hendrickson, available for questions. Okay, and then, yes, sir, Mr. Alarcon.
In the Bill Rosendahl letter, it references engineering report, and I'm trying to get the numbers. So are these numbers aligned with the conditions for street vacation?
Correct.
Okay, I'm just trying to see what's been deleted, what isn't. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we have one public speaker's card on this item. Deborah Rathbun? Yes, you want to come up to the chair here and speak? Welcome.
Thank you. I did call in with the 2-minute warning thing, so.
Okay.
This way. My name is Deborah Rathbun, and I am one of the owners of the property located at 1632 Stoner Avenue. I am addressing you in regards to the vacation of the alley to the First Baptist Church. The alley is a common thoroughway for the church and other property owners within that city block. I am voicing my objection to this action. I do not want the alley vacated to the church because this only benefits the church. It devalues the property that is owned by myself and others, and it creates an inconvenience for us and for the tenants of the apartment buildings. Back in 2007, I attended several planning and land use meetings. The church spoke of the importance of other plans being primarily for the safety of the students. The school no longer exists. As noted in the report submitted by the architects and on page 7 of the engineering report, the purpose of the vacation is to provide for pedestrian safety in conjunction with the church school campus. Is there still going to be a 19,000 square foot open space student play yard with automobile drop-off and pickup area since there's no school? Is there going to be a sound wall as recommended? The architect's report states there's no existing food preparation facilities on site. The church has a food kitchen that feeds the homeless on Saturday mornings. We were informed the plans did not include blocking the alley with some type of wall barrier. There was a promise of a gate that would open and close for trash day. It now seems to be a wall. In reality, how can they accommodate opening a gate on trash day if they construct a new church entrance over the vacated alleyway? Noted in the engineering report is that the objections to the vacations appear to have been withdrawn. I have never withdrawn my objection. So many of these items are addressed and answered differently. As a property owner, I do not feel confident in their plans, and there seems to be an underlying scheme to placate us just to get approval for the vacation so they can do whatever they want. Please take into consideration the inconsistencies in their request. Please withhold your approval until such a time a more concise and forthcoming plan is submitted and addressed. Thank you.
Okay, and you live adjacent to the church, to the property where that's?
I own
located?
part of the property.
You own part of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Which parcel?
11,
Here, show you.
15.
15, let's show you now.
There should be 4 owners on 15.
15,
Lot 15?
something's wrong with this.
Right here.
On this one? You're on Barrington?
Stoner.
You're on Stoner, and you're 15 on Stoner? So your property isn't adjacent to the actual... Your property isn't adjacent to the actual change?
Not the change, but the alley that they want to close
Okay,
off.
so they're blocking that alley.
That is correct.
Okay.
You'll still have access to your property, correct?
Pardon?
Through the alley? You will still have access to your property through the alley?
What I understand.
Yeah, because what's being vacated, I mean, it won't be a pass-through, but you'll have access.
That is correct.
Now, the property owners who won't have access anymore, are they okay with this vacation?
They've evicted all of them because they owned the property.
Oh, they own the
Yeah,
property?
they own the
Oh,
property.
they own- Okay.
Oh, so is there an existing church here?
Yes.
Yes, there is, sir.
Where is it?
What lot numbers?
That's located on lots 2, 4, 6, 8.
That's the existing church.
That's the existing church, and they bought out the 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and 10?
135 is the existing parking.
Parking for the church?
Correct.
Okay.
If I may jump in, that is all property that's owned by the church on either side of the portion of the
Which,
alleyway.
give me the parcels.
Yes, all of the parcels on both sides of the alleyway.
So, number 9
Number 9 is under the ownership of the church, that's
and number
correct.
10?
Number 10 is under the ownership of the church.
Okay, so everything north of that is owned by the church.
That's correct.
But the church is only on the northernmost corner, the 2, 4, and 6.
The church owns all the property fronting Barrington, and properties 1 through 9 fronting Stoner Avenue.
So if 1, 3, and 5 are a parking lot, what's 7, 9?
9 represents a mission house, which is a single-family residential development. Properties 1, 3, 5, and 7 will be, or are, and will constitute an expansion of the parking lot.
Okay. For the city engineer, any other, the public hearings, and some of them were withdrawn, correct? The concerns?
Yeah, my understanding is that the objections from 2007, from 2007 were withdrawn. I'm just going by what I have in the file. I wasn't present for that at that time,
Okay.
so I don't know exactly all the details on who was involved, but that was what was given to me as information.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey,
There's no
can I
one
ask a
from-
question, is the engineering, you've reviewed the recommendations from Mr. Rosendahl,
Yes.
and does it change this map at all?
No, the vacation area stays the same. There would be a turnaround dedicated in that remaining unvacated portion. And
Where?
If you look at one of the conditions on that list, I believe that's number
Where's the turnaround?
5F, which would be dedicated on lots 14 and 16.
14 and 16. Oh, they own that too?
Yes.
Yes.
How far do they own down that street, down Barrington?
The way to
Go ahead.
20.
Well, the applicant owns on Barrington, the entire block along Barrington,
So from 2 to 20?
That's correct.
2 through 20, yeah.
And on the other side is residential?
On the Stoner side.
From 11 to 19 is single-family residential?
The properties 19 through 11.
Yeah.
Front Stoner Avenue are multifamily residential.
So it's all apartments or what?
Apartments and 2 houses,
Okay.
or dual, multi-family on one of them.
And I apologize, can you tell me, what was your primary concern?
My primary concern is that it seems what they say gets changed. And
No, but what's the problem you
at
have
first
with
they
it?
said there would be no problem with trash pickup, for example, because we were worried about trash pickup. No problem, we'll have a gate installed, we'll open it on trash day, open and close it. Now it seems there's a wall there. And that, oh, well, the trash trucks can use this turnaround. But what guarantee on the turnaround, because the best that I can read the engineering report, because I'm not familiar with this, is that certain things are addressed, but at the same time, there's a sentence there that says, well, if you do this and this on this section over here, this may be waived. I don't want to go down the line here and the turnaround, let's say, never gets constructed because they said, well,
But, so am I hearing you right? You're not particularly opposed to the closure of the alley? You just want to make sure that everything else remains the same?
That is correct.
And you have a list of these things?
I did, yes. I mean, I do. I mean, there's several issues. I mean, things are promised and,
So do we have a council representative? Have these things been resolved, or?
Can you come up, please?
Can you come up to the front, please?
oh, do you want me to move?
Let me ask the engineering department. So trash pickup and other city services and other issues like that, I mean, would that be dealt with? Is that?
It's not dealt with explicitly in the report. I mean, I don't see what impact that would have if we have a turnaround available for it.
Okay.
It would still be available.
Would still be- And there is a turnaround available?
Well, the turnaround is required under the conditions.
Required under the
Yeah,
conditions?
that's going to be one that we're requiring.
Yeah, I mean, hi, Linwin with Councilmember Rosenthal's office. As far as I'm aware, the turnaround, there will be a turnaround there. It will just be by lots 14 and 16. instead of the end of,
And it'll be sufficient for trash vehicles to get around?
according to sanitation, yes, sufficient. Because they reviewed the alley vacation, and actually a representative from sanitation came to the West LA Neighborhood Council Plum Committee when they heard it, and stipulated that they had no problem with the proposed
Okay, so-
vacation.
I asked her if she had a list of concerns, and she said somewhere, do you have that list, and were those concerns addressed?
I don't have a...
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
I directed my question to you.
I'm sorry, I don't have a copy of her list.
So you don't know whether her concerns have been addressed or not?
No, but what I can do is, can you provide me one?
No, I'm, please.
I'm sorry, Councilman.
So you don't know whether her concerns have been addressed or not?
No.
Well, can we continue this matter?
We have the right to continue it, so have, the council member's office has not met with this, with the individual? No?
But we'd be more than happy to.
Oh, okay. We could continue it. The fact of the matter is that, you're suggesting we continue it?
Yeah, I've been involved in a lot of these, particularly when I was Chair of Public Works in the 90s. And typically, even when there were contentious circumstances, there was a response from the council office on each and every concern. So, frankly, I find this an unusual situation where you're asking us to vote on something when all the concerns that have been raised have not been addressed. Now, if the councilman said, I disagree with her, and, on this point, we're going to go this direction. But to come before us and say that you haven't addressed every concern, I just don't think that's right.
If I may,
Understand.
respectfully, sir. Michael Pauls, a representative for the applicant. The concerns were addressed one by one before the neighborhood council. We had opportunity to meet with fire, sanitation, as well as police regarding emergency services and access in the alleyway. All three agencies had indicated that they had no issue with access and that the remainder of the alleyway would not prevent them from providing services in any way. We also, with respect...
Do you have the list that she's talked about?
This is the first time that I have had opportunity, sir, to hear this list of concerns that she has had.
Well, so then you don't know that her concerns have been addressed either?
I'm simply commenting on the concerns that she had voiced this afternoon, sir.
I don't know. I don't know what her list of concerns is. And,
That's fair. That's true. Yes.
so all I want is for a response to every concern. And if there's answers, fine. If not, I don't think that's doing the due diligence to get a matter like this approved. And I'm not opposing it. I'm just saying we'd like to get answers. At least I would. That's all.
Well, I was inclined to move this forward to full council, but if one of my colleagues wants to continue this for a week to get more information, we'll do that. And as he said, as long as there's a meeting and that the concerns are raised, the engineer and the local council member may agree or disagree with them, even if you just come up here and say we disagreed with those concerns because they're being addressed this way, that way, or whatever it is. What my colleague is requesting is that at least that this person be heard. So we'll continue this for 1 week.
I appreciate that. We'll take her information and schedule a meeting with her. Thank you, council member.
Thank you very much. Next item.
Item number 3, city engineer report and final environmental impact report relative to the vacation of Council Street and Madison Avenue Vacation District in connection with the construction of Central Region Elementary School number 20, vacation E1401143.
Welcome, staff, please, first.
Dale Williams, Bureau of Engineering, Land Development Group. This is for a vacation of a portion of Council Street between Madison Avenue and Juanita Avenue, as well as a portion of the alley between Madison Avenue and Juanita Avenue. The petitioner is LAUSD. The purpose of this project is to consolidate properties in order to construct a new elementary school. Again, BOE is recommending approval with the conditions outlined in the report. We did not receive any objections to this vacation. I did receive one letter concerned with making sure that we implement alley access from Madison Avenue to Juanita Avenue. And as one of the conditions, we are requiring a through alley to be dedicated and improved from Madison Avenue to Juanita Avenue. I do have one technical correction I'd like to read into the record.
Yes.
Modify condition 8 to read that satisfactory arrangements be made with the Los Angeles County Flood Control District and Los Angeles County Public Works for the relocation or abandonment of the existing County of Los Angeles sewer and storm drain facilities located within the areas to be vacated, unless easements or rights for their protection of any affected facilities to remain in place are provided to the County of Los Angeles to their satisfaction.
Okay. Robin Brown, LUSD, any additional comments?
Yes, thank you. In addition to that, we're requesting the deletion of conditions 4A, 4B, 5A.1, 5A.2. Those are requirements for work, sorry.
We didn't get a report. Is there a report?
There's a report, but there's no map. We just have a one-page, one-pager here.
It's item number 3, right?
Yeah, item number 3. And this is the report, correct? It's like this one cover letter here.
I didn't get one. Saeed, do you have one?
He wants to know what they are.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
So basically, this is the school, and they just want to vacate that?
Well, actually, the school is it's several different parcels. It's on the campus of Virgil Middle School, and we acquired the properties to the north of Council to build the playground for the middle school, and then where the playground for the existing middle school will be for the new elementary school. So we have some
So this is-
reconfiguration of the campus
This
here.
entire parcel is a school, or what? Tell me which parcels are the school? Just trying to-
The school is also fronting, Virgil Middle School also fronts on Vermont. And this additional land here, some of it was owned by LAUSD, and we acquired the balance of it to put our playground area here. And so the playground will cross over this portion of Council between Juanita and Madison. And then down in this portion over here is where the new elementary school is going to be built.
Okay. And is that a street? What is that? Council?
Westmoreland is down south,
No, this council, the big blue, green area.
the
Yes.
street.
So no traffic goes through there now, or?
Very minimal traffic, and so it's going to be rerouted through to Beverly.
And nobody's raised any concerns about that?
We did a complete EIR, worked with LADOT in regard to mitigating traffic impacts.
That's correct. That's included in the
And
mitigation budget.
the community has been fully apprised, and no complaints have been raised?
Correct.
Okay, great.
Okay, Council District 13. Thank you.
I got you guys a bigger map. It's a better visual. Catherine Hennigan on behalf of Council President Eric Garcetti's office. We support the modification and the deletion of those conditions. We've worked with LAUSD. We also have Aida Alvarado here, the field deputy for the area, who's been working directly with the community. We did have one letter which we addressed with the school district and Bureau of Engineering with the constituent and worked out that issue. So we are in support and ask for you to support the vacation as well so the school can be built, and it's a great project. Thank you.
Great, but the greatly impacted school in terms of overcrowding and other necessities, I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Without any objection, we'll move this forward to full council. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pictures help. Pictures help.
And just let the record reflect that the technical corrections are referring to the February 17, 2010 city engineer report.
Yes, sir. Next item.
Item number 6, continued from October 7, 2009, February 17, 2010, and March 3, 2010. Communication from the Public Works Committee and ordinance relative to adding subsection A to section 62.118.2 of the Los Angeles Municipal Code requiring any restaurant wishing to engage in dining activities within the dedicated public right-of-way to obtain a revocable permit. This matter was referred to the Public Works Committee by council action on August 12, 2009.
Yeah, before we go on this, I do have a public speaker for item number 4, and that has been continued. So, Ann Blum here? This item number 4 has been continued, ma'am, and do you wish to speak today under public comment? Maybe you can make your comments there. Under public comment, after this item here. We're not taking action on that item today, but you could address the council, the committee on that. Okay, I just got this. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon, council members. Len Paco, Bureau of Engineering. BOE was asked to report back on issues raised in the previous committee meeting with respect to sidewalk dining fees and parking, specifically for BOE to report back on fees that other cities charge, to look into complaint-based fee proposal for those out of compliance, to look into the sliding scale fee based on the size of the dining area in lieu of one fee charged to all, and lastly, look into parking requirements as part of the permit process. We prepared 2 reports for you, one for the fees and the other for parking, and let me address the one with the fees first. We surveyed 10 cities and found that our initial application fee is the highest of the 10, but unlike the other cities, we do not charge an annual renewal fee at this time, whereas all of them do. In fact, the 2 recommendations that we're proposing for renewal fees are comparatively lower than all except for one city. We are recommending proposals for fees for your consideration. The original proposal is the $300 biannually, which is $150 per year, which includes the cost for administrative processing of $160 and inspection of $140, and is based on the estimated cost of what the city would incur when providing the service. The service includes mailing out notices for renewal, verifying permit conditions, verifying the ownership and insurance status, and the site inspection to make sure that the permittee is in compliance with their permit. This proposal already includes an ordinance that was prepared by the city attorney's office, and this is the one that went before the city council at that time. So the second recommendation is a new one that we're proposing, and this is for a reduced fee of $160 biannually, or $80 a year, for administrative services only. This does not include a physical site visit and inspection of the property. Instead, we will require applicants to submit a signed affidavit and notarized affidavit declaring under penalty of perjury that the restaurant is in full compliance with their revocable permit conditions, and failure to submit the affidavit upon the expiration date will cause the permit to expire. This recommendation, because it's new, will require a preparation of a new ordinance by the city attorney's office. Regarding the complaint-based fee proposal, we did develop a proposal for complaints, and that is our third recommendation for your consideration. This third recommendation is a penalty fee in the event that our street services inspector finds that the permittees, that the sidewalk dining area is not in compliance with their permit conditions. The penalty fee and inspection fee will be charged, a penalty fee will be charged for noncompliance. The first violation is $420, $280, which is the penalty fee, and $140 for inspection. Second violation is higher, $700, and third violation within 1 calendar year, the first violation will be subject to revocation of the permit. This recommendation also requires the preparation of an ordinance by the city attorney. We looked at sliding scale fees. The alternative for a sliding scale fee structure was, we did an assessment on this. This alternative fee structure is based on the size of the dining encroachment in the public sidewalk. We discussed this with the city attorney and decided that we would not recommend it because it looks more like we're renting out the public right-of-way or leasing it rather than a fee. And since the amount, because the amount is charged related to the size of the area rather than a fee based on the cost of providing that service. With respect to the parking requirements for sidewalk dining, our second report discusses this, and we have one recommendation. We recommend that the parking requirements be a separate action from the fees, dining fees itself, and that the parking requirements be referred to the Department of City Planning, who has jurisdiction of parking for this situation. Currently, parking requirements are covered under the municipal code definition of outdoor eating areas and under the zoning administration interpretation. Our revocable permit requires that we comply with these regulations, but in most cases, additional street parking would not be required because these regulations, they require that if there was some cover to it, then it may have parking requirements, but in most cases, in sidewalk dining, there are no roofing covers. Revision to these regulations will require council action, and we've been advised that the planning department is drafting a proposed parking management district ordinance citywide for planning commission consideration this year. So this proposed ordinance can provide a tool to address the sidewalk dining parking requirements in specific impacted areas rather than have one absolute parking requirement for the entire city.
Okay, so basically, you need some funding to do inspections in order to assure that people are following the city's regulations with respect to outdoor dining and processing it. So will this fee cover simply administrative costs, or are there going to be additional?
Well, the first recommendation is for the administrative and for inspection.
Okay.
The $300 every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, we based it on a number of hours, and right now it's at $300. The second recommendation is that, okay, we're not going to send out our inspector. We're going to just do it administratively. It's cheaper. It's $160 every 2 years, so that's $80 a year. And instead of sending an inspector out there, we would have the establishment or the restaurant then would fill out an affidavit saying that they are in compliance before their permit expires.
And your recommendation is the 300 permit mandatory inspection for all? That's your recommendation?
That would be the BOE preference, since we already have an ordinance written for it already, and it's ready to go. But I gave that as an option.
Thank you. Does CLA or CAO have a recommendation on this?
Mr. Chairman, no, we have not reviewed this in a way for report purposes, but going back, if it's these are in a right-of-way, public right-of-way.
Correct, on the sidewalk.
A fee based on that use of the right-of-way, like farmers markets have to pay for that privilege of being in the right-of-way. There is an inspection fee that they have generated for that permit. It's a reasonable, calculated on the inspector's time and other factors in it. I think we would look at it from your perspective of the option 1 and option 3 in combination would be a way of getting compliance for this activity. But if you want us to look at it further, we will, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we've been continuing this item because I know Mr. Smith and Mr. Eloquent had raised questions. As I was originally inclined to support the original 2-year, 300 permit inspection. They went back and went to council on that. But any questions for Mr. Eloquent?
Yeah, the first question, I'm still not clear on what the problem we're trying to solve is.
Originally, it actually dates back, number of years when there was a complaint regarding a restaurant, and that there was a regular citizen complaint for this one restaurant on 3rd Street.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that complaint and resolution of those complaints was for the Bureau of Engineering and Public Works to review the policy on sidewalk dining. And one of the recommendations we made was to have an annual inspection or regular inspection to make sure that the restaurant is in compliance with their permit.
Do we get, I mean, you mentioned one restaurant there was complaints about...
Actually, there are a number of restaurants on 3rd Street that were...
No, but there were a number, how many complaints have we gotten citywide on this thing?
Citywide?
Well, West Lieutenant Jerry, Bureau of Engineering. We do receive complaints throughout the year, and that goes to our Bureau of Street Services investigators. I don't know the exact count, but there are several during the year that Bureau of Street Services goes out to investigate, and if they don't already have a permit, they are cited to get a revocable permit for sidewalk dining.
Okay, so there's already a permit process in place?
Correct.
So what's the problem we're trying to fix? I'm still not getting an answer to my question.
It's primarily for compliance, because when we issue the permit, we don't go out there anymore to see if they're in compliance with that permit unless somebody complains, and then our street services will go out there and investigate and to see if they're still in compliance with that permit. So like in most cities, they issue the initial permit, and then on a regular basis would then monitor their compliance, and that's what the fee is for.
Okay, so, but you're changing the amount of the fee. That doesn't seem to be what the problem was.
No, this is an additional fee. The original fee is for the initial permit to place.
What's the problem? What's the problem we're trying to solve there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, there's no problem with the initial fee.
So why are you changing it?
It's just, no, I think...
No, this is for the annual inspection or biannual inspection.
So whatever...
Wait, so you're saying that because we get a few complaints a year, we want to create an entire bureaucracy for the city of Los Angeles to create an inspection program for dining on the sidewalk?
Lim, part of our report, the Bureau of Street Services did look into their old records, and they calculated there was about 60 complaints per year where investigators would go investigate a sidewalk dining complaint.
How many outside dining places are there?
We currently have about 300 permitted, but...
In Central District?
No, citywide.
Citywide.
About 300 permitted, but there are probably several others that are not permitted that have sidewalk dining.
These 60 complaints, you said 60 complaints a year. Is it about all of these restaurants? Or just 60?
Citywide, about 60 a year.
I'm just trying to... I just don't know that we need to create a bureaucracy for such a small problem.
Well, there are 3 recommendations. The 3rd recommendation is just for those that are not in compliance, and there would be a penalty. So if you can choose to just have that penalty and not have a biannual.
Well, here's
And just-
here's the way I look at it. You're going to automatically, the way I see this, right now, they get the permit, they have their sidewalk dining, and you don't expect them. You only respond if there's a complaint.
Correct.
Now you want to inspect all of them on a regular basis, which is the part about creating a new bureaucracy. When we're not getting complaints about all of them. We're only getting complaints about some of them. So why are the good guys having to pay for the bad guys? Why shouldn't the bad guys just pay for their own problem?
Larry Morales from Bureau of Street Services, Special Enforcement Division. Good afternoon. In regards to the complaints that do come into our division, we do receive them periodically, but most often enough in regards to multiple restaurants at any given time of day of week. We do respond to those, which I said they are complaint-driven. We do respond to, say, an outside dining facility multiple times, in most instances, several.
So you're not solving the problem by going out one time, unless you bump up the penalties.
In the case of issuing our notices and going back for reinspection and seeking compliance, we do have to go out multiple times, yes. But as it stands right now regarding the revocable permits that have been issued.
Okay, well, let me be clear. I don't have a problem with penalizing those where there's complaints and problems that are being derived. I have a problem with increasing fees on those restaurants that are basically managing it well. And that's what you're doing. You're spreading the cost on good businesses when it's, 60 bad issues, and some of them are multi-complaints, so it's a very small fraction of these restaurants that is making all of the problem that the good restaurants are being asked to pay for.
So what's the difference between option 2 and option 3? Option 2 is a 2-year, $160 permit. Inspections would be complaint-driven only.
Yeah, actually, it's more like option 1 and 2. Those are the annual fees.
Okay, so there's
The option 3 is the penalty fee.
So it's just, you do an inspection fee, and you if they're out of compliance, give them a penalty fee, and that's it.
Say that again.
Option 3, yeah.
Option 3.
Option 3, yeah.
3 is just a penalty fee only.
That's also complaint-driven, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the complaint-driven fee, yes.
But the difference between 1 and 2 is just the amount, 300 versus 160.
Yeah, one is we're going to send the inspector out there. The other, we won't. We just ask the applicant to submit that they're in compliance. And, then we'll review to make sure that their insurance is still in effect, and that, a lot of other administrative things that we would just check.
You said that you got 60 complaints. How many of them were actually cited?
I don't have that information unless Larry does.
That's unknown at this time.
Pardon me?
That's unknown at this time.
Okay, here's I can't vote for this because I'm not going to impose additional penalties on businesses that are not generating complaints and not causing problems.
Okay.
We need to encourage them to, I want them to, I like these kinds of restaurants, and I think most people think they're pretty cool. But if they're a bad player, I don't have a problem with penalizing them. So if you have to go out multiple times, bump up the fee. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with spreading the cost on good businesses, and particularly when, how many restaurants are we losing every year in the last couple of years?
Don't know.
Thousands. One restaurateur was telling me that if you're not contributing $60,000 a month to your restaurant, you are going under, out of your pocket. So the only ones who are surviving are the ones who are paying out of their pocket to keep their business open. If we impose this fee, we're going to get a lot more complaints, different kinds of complaints from the business community. This is not the time to push that. But if they're causing problems and people are congregating in a way that they're blocking pedestrian traffic and making noise and doing all kinds of other things, I say go after them and clean them up. And the way to do that is to increase the penalty. I have no problem with the penalty concept. I just don't want to impose a new cost on businesses that are otherwise not causing problems.
So what Mr. Alarcon is describing is number 3, right?
Yeah,
3 alone.
that's good. Yeah. That would be satisfactory.
If I may, Tom Carabello, Bureau of Street Services. They mentioned that there was about 60 complaints on the average, and that is correct. It's probably about that number. The biggest problem that we're having is the compliance. We do have a lot of restaurants that do not pull the revocable permits. I'd say 90% of the time that we go out to a location, they do not have a permit. The other times, it's because the owner has pulled a permit, but they're not complying with the conditions of the permit. So they start off with, because the permit is very specific on what you could have out there. So they get a permit issued for 2 tables, 4 chairs. Over the course of time, the owner starts pushing it a little bit. Before you know, you've got 10 tables, 20 planters, and you've reduced the sidewalk space now to a couple feet, which now we have some ADA violations. And the only vehicle or instrument we have now is pretty much a nuisance notice and an administrative hearing. So there is no real penalty that really encourages them to come into compliance.
But the question I would have about 3, since I'm not supportive of the general inspection, or general annual or biannual fee, is that enough to cover it? And now I'm going the other way. I'm saying, look, if they're causing trouble, is the cost in the penalty, or the penalties that you've created here, will that cover the cost of our inspections? Or compliance inspections?
Yeah, the number 3 includes cost for inspection.
So whatever it is,
Right.
Penalty.
plus a penalty.
What's the penalty?
Oh, so it's the penalty
Yeah.
plus the
Yeah,
cost of
there's
inspection.
the first offense is, the first offense is $280 for the penalty, plus $140 for the inspection, for a total of $420.
Okay.
And then the second one is 700, and then the third one is, within a 1-year period, would be a case for revocation of the permit.
So option 3 does just that,
Yes,
and then
just for complaint based.
1 and 2 would be the biannual proposals? Okay, so if I just want to support option 3, or if I moved option 3, you would have no problem with that?
I would have no problem.
I'll support option 3.
Let's do option 3 with 1 annual review to come back to the committee to report on how that's working out.
You mean, we review what happens after a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
See if it's working.
And then the second item was on the parking. We were recommending that it be addressed through this Department of City Planning. That's the parking issue that I believe Councilmember Smith was talking
Yeah,
about.
that's fine. Have plan to deal with it.
Okay.
We're not going to deal with it. Thank you very much.
So it just reminds me, it might be helpful if you reached out to the California Restaurant Association to ask them for their input during the review process. So in a year, I'd like to know what they say.
Oh, during the year.
Yeah, not before.
Thank you very much. Move that item to council with recommending item number 3, so ordered. Next item.
Mr. Chair, I believe that is all the items. We just have general public comment.
Okay, we have 1 general public comment. Ann Blum. Or was,
Oh, just that one.
Hi, I live in Los Angeles, on the edge of West Hollywood and Beverly Hills.
Report back in a year.
And,
welcome.
hi. I'm calling because, for one thing, I'm really annoyed that the rich seem to be able to do as they please, and the city is so broke, it goes after the poor people with increasing the parking fees and taxes. And I have been taking pictures since 2002 through the present of trees in my neighborhood illegally being cut down, city trees. And I have been trying to deal with the tree department for the last 10 years, getting nowhere because they told me the city attorney throws the cases out. and I want this to stop. I love these trees. We should be able to enjoy nature. They are there for everybody to enjoy, and these selfish property owners cut the trees down. If they don't do it, the city cuts the trees down, because the wealthy developers put in a condominium, and then the city comes by and cuts down the mature trees and says, well, we have to widen the street. Even when you only have 3 condominiums in a building, they'll make a little zigzag so that one car can park on the street. The streets are zigzag, and I'm getting tired of looking at concrete everywhere. And the city either is always cutting down trees or butchering trees. The streets should not be widened every time a condominium is put in. And then the developers are allowed to put all the palm trees that they want to in front of these condos. They're ugly. No shade trees. We've lost our beautiful shade trees because of this. If the city would have been fining these people who illegally cut down trees for years, this situation would never have been allowed to get to the point where it is now, and it's going to continue. I get frustrated running out the door all the time every time I hear a chainsaw going, and I argue with the gardener.
We could finish up.
And it doesn't do any good. He just laughs at me because he knows these people are going to get a slap on the wrist. This is shameful. If I moved to Beverly Hills and bought a house and cut down one of those ugly telephone pole type palm trees, I would be carted away in a police car. And the city of Los Angeles does nothing to protect the trees.
Right. Thank you very much, ma'am. And one of the reasons we continue this is so that we could better review this and see what...
I'm leaving these pictures. Will they be kept in a safe place?
Are you aware of the proposal to allow the property owners to maintain the responsibility for their easements?
Are you saying that they should have the right to cut down the city trees?
No, what I'm saying is they will be given the responsibility.
I don't want palm trees all over the place. These people cut
No, that's
down...
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is in the easement where the trees are, the city is considering transferring the responsibility back to the owner of the property to maintain those areas.
Yes, but they ruin the trees. They butcher the trees when they trim them. No, these are city trees. They need to be protected. These people need to be fined. Otherwise, we won't have any more...
Technically, they're not city trees. Technically, they are the property of the owner already. The question is who is responsible to maintain them.
This is corrupt.
Yeah.
This is corrupt. No, I want to keep these city trees there. I want the tall Australian pines. I want the liquid ambers. I don't want to see the neighborhood turn into palm trees. This is not right. The city could have made $20,000 or more just from my neighborhood alone if you would have been fining these people $1,000 for illegally cutting down a tree. But the city does nothing. Don't go after the poor. If you're not going to go after the wealthy, then do not go after the poor and raise taxes and raise parking fees. It's not right.
Great. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Want to submit, somebody get those photos and the... Thank you. Meeting adjourned.